The 24th of November 2021 was the day of the murder. Rishmeet Singh was socialising with his friends. They were not drinking alcohol or taking drugs. He was not armed. CCTV showed the two of you leaving 68 Austin Road at 8:47 p.m, having changed from the clothes that you were wearing earlier. You, Mr. Suleiman, had a particularly large 3-foot-long machete-style knife concealed in your tracksuit trousers. You, Mr. Balakrishnan, either took the knife, which you had purchased with you from number 68, or you collected it from a stash by the canal. You identified Rishmeet and his friends as potential targets, and you began to chase them. By chance, a BMW was in the area, which may well have contained gang rivals, and interaction between you and the occupants of that car may have led you wrongly to associate Rishmeet and his friends with a Southall gang. The two of you approached Rishmeet's group in a threatening manner. His friends were able to escape, but Rishmeet ran off on his own, and when he tripped over, the CCTV showed that the two of you ferociously attacked him, each of you stabbing him repeatedly with those lethal knives. You, Mr. Balakrishnan, made 5 separate stabbing movements. You, Mr. Suleiman, a further 10. As Rishmeet lay dying in a doorway, you headed off, collected the bikes and rode back to number 68. There you changed your clothes and went to your respective homes by taxi. You both went back to number 68 the following day and arranged for the bikes and your blood-stained clothing to be disposed of. At the scene where Rishmeet was to die, the emergency services had been called at 9:07. He had suffered multiple sharp force injuries to his head and chest, and penetrating injuries to his brain, liver and lung. There were through and through injuries to his arm, which were consistent with defensive injuries as he held his arms up to try to protect himself. There were at least 11 and up to 15 separate stab wounds. Despite the efforts of the medics, his injuries were not survivable, and he died at the scene. The very same night, you, Mr. Balakrishnan, having taken your blood-stained knife back to your bedroom, photographed it and posted a photograph on social media. You then wrote drill lyrics glorifying the killing, which included lines such as, "One tripped and fell, and he knew it was over. I was swinging my shank, swinging my blade back and forth, trying to turn him off. He tripped and got dipped onto my shank. Chasing him with a nank, really trying to open his chest apart, trying to push my knife through his lungs." Those chilling lyrics were found in the very notebook in which you had recorded the lessons you'd learned about the dangers of knife crime as part of your referral order. You were arrested at your home on the 2nd of December of 2021. You did not answer police questions. You, Mr. Suleiman, ran away from your home when you heard about Mr. Balakrishnan's arrest. Your mother reported you missing. You were arrested at a cousin's address on the 8th of December. You admit that you were planning to leave the country. You also did not answer police questions. You were both remanded into custody, and you, Mr. Balakrishnan, were held at Feltham Young Offender Institution. The second serious offence of violence for which I have to deal with you took place on the 1st of July 2022. That was when you were still on remand for the murder at Feltham. You and 4 other inmates, including Marcus Walker, who I sentenced yesterday, were in the exercise yard at around 10:30 in the morning. There is poor quality footage of the incident. However, several prison officers were able to describe what took place. Would you both stand up, please? The sentences I pass upon you are as follows. Vanushan Balakrishnan, for the murder, detention at His Majesty's pleasure with a minimum term of 24 years. For the Section 18, detention at His Majesty's pleasure with a minimum term of 4 years. That's 2/3 of the notional determinate term. You have spent 524 days in detention on remand, which will count towards your sentence. So the minimum term is 24 years less 524 days. Ilyas Suleiman, The sentence I pass upon you for the murder is detention at His Majesty's pleasure with a minimum term of 21 years. You have spent 517 days in detention on remand, which will count towards your sentence. And so the minimum term is 21 years less 517 days. If the information which I've been provided with as to days in detention on remand proves to be inaccurate, then the prosecution or defence must notify the court so that the case can be relisted to correct the calculation as soon as possible, and in any event within 56 days of today. You must both understand, and all those who are listening must understand, that you will not be released when you have served those minimum terms. Indeed, you will only be released if and when the parole board conclude that either or both of you no longer pose a risk of harm to the public, and that will not be until you have served at least every day of the minimum terms which I have just imposed. That's the sentence of the court. They may go down. Thank you.